There are places that don't need a caption. You take one look, and you know exactly where you are. La Bombonera is one of them. One of the most iconic stadiums in the world, right in the heart of La Boca, Buenos Aires. Officially named Estadio Alberto J. Armando, but everyone knows it as La Bombonera. Located in the colorful neighborhood of La Boca, it's home to Boca Juniors, one of the most legendary football clubs in South America. The nickname comes from the stadium's shape, which resembles a box of chocolates. Opened in 1940, La Bombonera is famous for its unique design: steep stands, a flat vertical wall on one side, and an acoustic that turns every match into chaos, in the best way possible. More than just a stadium, it's a cultural symbol of Argentina. Thousands of tourists visit every year, even when there's no match, just to see the place where football history was made. The idea for La Bombonera started in the 1930s, when Boca Juniors needed a proper stadium of their own. Until then, the club had played in several temporary venues around Buenos Aires. In 1934, they bought the land in La Boca, a working-class neighborhood with narrow streets and no space to waste. That's one of the reasons the stadium ended up with such a compact and vertical design. Construction began in 1938 and took just under 2 years. On May 25, 1940, La Bombonera officially opened its gates with a friendly match between Boca Juniors and San Lorenzo. At that time, the stadium had only 2 tiers and a capacity of around 50,000 people. The third tier, the iconic upper section, was added later, in 1953. From the beginning, fans noticed how intense the atmosphere was. The steep stands, the acoustics, the neighborhood pressing up against the stadium walls. It created a feeling that this place wasn't just built to host matches, it was built to intimidate. La Bombonera's design is what makes it instantly recognizable. Most stadiums are symmetrical, built in oval or circular shapes. But here, the layout had to adapt to the limited space in La Boca. That's why one of the sides, the east stand, is completely vertical. It looks almost like a wall. That unique structure gives the stadium a capacity of over 57,000 people, packed tightly into a compact footprint. The steep angle of the stands puts fans almost on top of the pitch. And when the stadium is full, the noise bounces off the walls, creating a booming echo that hits players and opponents like a wave. Some say it's the loudest stadium in South America. Others say it's the most intimidating. But almost everyone agrees. There's nothing else like it. Even FIFA recognized its design as one of the most iconic in football history. A stadium that feels alive, like it's breathing with the crowd. La Bombonera isn't just a stadium, it's the heart of an entire neighborhood. La Boca is one of the oldest and most colorful districts in Buenos Aires. Originally a working-class area with strong immigrant roots, it became the perfect home for a club like Boca Juniors, born from the people, for the people. You can feel it on match days. The narrow streets around the stadium fill with blue and yellow. Shops close early. Locals hang flags from balconies. Drums echo from blocks away. And the fans? They don't watch the game, they live it. The singing, the jumping, the non-stop chants. It's not entertainment, it's identity. Boca's fan base is known as La Doce, the 12th man, and they're famous around the world for their energy, loyalty, and intimidation factor. For them, La Bombonera isn't just home turf, it's sacred ground. Over the decades, La Bombonera has seen it all. Legendary players like Diego Maradona, Juan Román Riquelme, Martín Palermo, and Carlos Tevez turned this pitch into their stage. For Boca fans, these names aren't just heroes, they're part of the stadium's walls. Maradona played some of his most iconic club matches here. Palermo scored unforgettable goals, and Riquelme? He didn't just wear the shirt, he embodied Boca's spirit. La Bombonera has hosted countless superclásicos, the fierce derby between Boca Juniors and River Plate. Matches that stop the country, shake the stadium, and sometimes even the whole continent. And beyond domestic rivalries, it's been the scene of major Copa Libertadores clashes, with Boca lifting the trophy 6 times, making them one of the most successful clubs in South America. For opposing teams, playing here is a nightmare. For Boca fans, it's heaven. Because in La Bombonera, football is more than a sport, it's religion. La Bombonera literally moves. Because of its structure and how tightly it's built, the stadium actually vibrates when the fans jump in sync, especially during big matches. Some players have said it feels like an earthquake on the field. There's also no real buffer between the stadium and the neighborhood. One of the walls sits just a few meters away from local homes. On match days, some residents watch the game from their windows. Others rent out rooftops for tourists. And inside? The dressing rooms are famously old school, small, loud, and right beneath the stands, so visiting teams can hear the crowd screaming above them. Over the years, many clubs from around the world have visited La Bombonera, from Barcelona and Real Madrid to national teams like Germany and Brazil. But no matter who steps in, the experience is always the same: intense, loud, and unforgettable. La Bombonera isn't just famous among football fans. It's become a symbol of Argentina itself, like tango, mate, or Maradona. The stadium has been featured in documentaries, songs, street art, and even fashion editorials. Tourists from all over the world visit it, not just for the matches, but for what it represents: raw emotion, community, and authenticity. Even when empty, the stadium has a certain weight to it. You can walk through the stands and feel the energy, like the echoes of past games are still hanging in the air. The club also runs the Boca Juniors Museum, located inside the stadium. It showcases jerseys, trophies, historical photos, and even a small theater with highlights of legendary matches. For many fans, it's like walking through a sacred timeline. And maybe that's why La Bombonera feels different. It doesn't try to be modern or high-tech. It embraces its imperfections: the chipped paint, the narrow hallways, the concrete steps, all part of its identity. It's not just a stadium built for football. It's a stadium built by football. Even on days without matches, the streets around the stadium are full of movement. Tourists walk around with cameras. Locals sell jerseys, magnets, and chorpan on portable grills. You'll hear drums echoing from street corners, even if there's no band in sight. The walls around the stadium are covered with murals of Boca legends, Argentine flags, and graffiti messages of pride and loyalty. Some of the paintings change every few years. Others have been there for decades, untouched. For many locals, the stadium is more than a neighbor. It's part of the family. People grow up with it outside their window, pass it on their way to school, or hear the goals being shouted from blocks away. Some even say the stadium affects the mood of the entire neighborhood. When Boca wins, there's music, firecrackers, people dancing in the street. When Boca loses, the silence is just as loud. La Bombonera isn't just something you visit, it's something you feel, in the sounds, the colors, the stories that live in every corner of La Boca. La Bombonera is more than a stadium. It's a landmark, a memory, a living part of the city. But the soul of La Boca doesn't stop at the stadium gates. Just a few blocks away, the energy shifts. From football to art, from chants to tango, from blue and yellow to a whole explosion of color. This is where we find El Caminito, one of the most iconic streets in Buenos Aires, a place full of music, paintings, street performers, and stories painted right onto the walls. El Caminito isn't just a street. It's a museum, an open-air gallery, and a living postcard, all in one. Located in the heart of La Boca, just a short walk from La Bombonera, this narrow alleyway is one of the most photographed places in Buenos Aires. But it wasn't always this colorful. In the early 20th century, this area was mostly abandoned. Old railway tracks ran through here, and the buildings were falling apart. Locals didn't see it as a tourist spot. They saw it as just another forgotten corner of the city. That changed in the 1950s, when a group of neighbors, including local artists, decided to bring it back to life. They repainted the houses using leftover paint from the port, gave each building its own bold color, and added murals, sculptures, and benches. The street got its name from a tango song called Caminito, which means little path. The idea was simple: turn a decaying block into a celebration of neighborhood culture. And it worked. Today, El Caminito is packed with art, tourists, dancers, and souvenirs. It's loud, it's vibrant, and it never pretends to be fancy. Just like La Boca itself. Today, El Caminito is exactly what it looks like: chaotic, colorful, and completely alive. On any given day, you'll find tango dancers performing in the middle of the street, artists painting live, musicians playing bandoneon, and vendors selling everything from leather wallets to Boca Juniors baby clothes. You'll hear languages from all over the world. You'll smell grilled meat coming from tiny parillas hidden behind souvenir stands. And chances are, someone will try to convince you to take a photo with a guy dressed as Maradona, or a mannequin of Evita on a balcony. It's loud, it's busy, and yeah, it can feel a little touristy, but that's part of its charm. Because El Caminito isn't trying to be perfect, it's trying to show what La Boca really is: a neighborhood with immigrant roots, working-class soul, and an energy that refuses to be quiet. Even if you only spend a few minutes here, you feel it. In the art, the music, the people, and in the stories being told on every wall. Together with La Bombonera, it shows the two sides of La Boca: the passion of football and the soul of creativity. If you ever visit Buenos Aires, come here, walk these streets. Let the colors speak for themselves. And if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment telling me, what place should I fly over next?